Previous video, I showed you guys the structure and revision tab. I showed you the organizing on structure, the reading response questions for that and how you'd submit that. And I showed you the practice session and how you would submit that to the message board. So I just want to take you through the remaining tabs. So I'm going to click on revising. So this looks very similar to the previous set of reading response questions. So when you're ready to submit your responses, click on the Submit Assignment. And then, of course, that text entry box will appear. And again, you'll just want to go ahead and copy and paste your responses in there once you're ready to do that. And then you'll go ahead and click Submit Assignment. So I'm going to move on to the next page by clicking the next tab at the bottom right-hand corner. And then here is another discussion board that we'll do for the post-draft outline. So I have a little bit of context here. I've quoted from that section statement from Miller and Juracek, something for you guys to think about when you do this. I've laid out some objectives, what this is supposed to accomplish. And then I have the activity here, and I broke it down into steps. So read through the steps carefully. It's important to read through them carefully after you've read the section, of course. And then I have this template that you can use for your post-draft outline. So it'll look something like this, just on a sheet of notebook paper or in a Word document or in Google Docs. You'll go ahead and for every paragraph you have in your essay, so for example, if you have 7 paragraphs, you'll do this 7 times, 1 for each of those paragraphs. You're going to read through and determine what the main point of that paragraph is. And what you'll do is you'll just write it down in a sentence or even a phrase that just indicates what the point of that paragraph is. What is its main focus? Now, as I explain up here, it's important that you don't force a point on a paragraph if you can't figure it out. Say you're reading through and you're like, man, I don't really know what this paragraph's about. Don't just make one up, because that defeats the whole purpose of doing this. Instead, what you'll want to do is on your draft make a note and say, oh, okay, paragraph 3, I need to work more on that one because the point is unclear. So this could be for a few reasons. Maybe you have too much going on in that paragraph, and so in that case you would need to break your points up into smaller paragraphs so that each paragraph focuses on main idea. Or maybe it's just unclear, so you need to do a little bit more explanation and analysis to make sure that the point's clear to your readers. Or maybe it seems out of place and you might say, okay, well, this paragraph might fit better earlier or later on in the essay. Or it might seem that the point is irrelevant. It doesn't really contribute to the overall meaning of your essay, in which case you might decide to get rid of it. And that's okay. It's not wasted effort. It's a part of the process. So when you're ready, once you've created your post-draft outline, just as you did with the practice session, you're going to post it as a reply to this discussion thread. And you're going to post it, and then you'll go ahead and respond to 2 other classmates. Now I have a little bit more specific guidelines in how I want you to respond to this. I posted them up here. So I want you to think about any questions you might have about this outline. You might think about how one point leads into the other points. If you're not really sure about that, then you want to point that out to your colleague, your classmate. Think about this. Does this seem like a unified progression of ideas? Remember, each idea should lead into the next. It should all connect to the overall meaning of the essay. Or does it seem like a series of unrelated points, in which case you might need to figure out, the writer, I'm sorry, would need to figure out how to connect these points together. So in your replies to your classmates, I want you to pay attention to those.